All right, let's talk about one of the most important relationships on the entire planet, the one between us and pollinators. Now, this is a story about survival, but the best part is you get to be one of the heroes. So, let's dive right in.
We're going to start with a number that should really make you stop and think: 75%. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization, more than 3/4 of the world's food crops depend, at least in part, on bees and other pollinators. This isn't just about having pretty flowers around, you know. This is about the food we eat every single day. The stakes are incredibly high.
Okay, so when you hear a stat like that, it's easy to feel a little overwhelmed, right? It's a huge global issue. But the most powerful changes almost always start small. The real solution begins right outside your front door, in your garden, maybe on your balcony. It all starts with you.
So first up, let's get into Section 1, how to build a bee paradise. Yeah, we're going to turn whatever space you have into a 5-star, all-inclusive resort for your local pollinators.
The foundation of any great pollinator paradise is, of course, the food. And for bees, the absolute best stuff comes from native flowers. Now, why is that? Well, it's because local plants and local pollinators have grown up together for, like, thousands of years. They've co-evolved. These plants are a perfect match for your local climate and soil, and they provide the exact kind of nutrition your neighborhood bees need to really thrive.
And what's so cool is just how specific this connection is. Like, if you're in the American Midwest, purple coneflower is an absolute magnet for bumblebees. Head out west, and California poppies are just what leafcutter bees are looking for. And across the pond in the UK, foxgloves are perfect for long-tongued bumblebees. It really is all about serving up the local cuisine.
But here's the thing, it's not just what you plant, it's how you plant it. This is super important. First, go chemical-free. We'll talk more about pesticides in a bit, but they're a huge no-no. Second, plant a bunch of different flowers, different shapes, different colors, to attract all kinds of bees. And third, and this is a pro move, stagger your bloom times. You want something flowering in the spring, the summer, and the fall. It creates a year-round buffet. And hey, groups like the Xerces Society have amazing regional guides online to help you figure it all out.
Okay, get ready for a fact that is probably going to change the way you see bees forever. Over 90%, 90 of the world's 20,000 bee species are solitary. They don't live in hives, they don't have a queen, they don't make honey. They're the quiet, hardworking, unsung heroes of the pollination world.
So unlike the honeybees we always hear about, these solitary bees, we're talking mason bees, leafcutter bees, they are critical pollinators, but they've got a serious housing crisis. They need to find little nesting spots in hollow stems or tunnels in wood, and, well, in our super tidy modern yards, those are getting really hard to find. But the good news is, you can give them exactly what they're looking for.
So how do you help? You build a DIY bee hotel. And trust me, it's way easier than it sounds. Just grab a wooden box or a piece of a log and fill it with natural stuff like bamboo tubes or even paper straws. Just make sure the holes have a closed back so they feel safe. Then you just place it about 3 feet or a meter off the ground, facing southeast to get that nice morning sun. The only other thing is to clean it out once a year to keep it healthy. It's such an easy way to give them a much-needed home.
Okay, so we've talked about all the good stuff to add to your garden. Now for Section 2, we've got to talk about what we need to take away to really protect their habitat.
The number one villain in this story is a type of pesticide called Neonicotenoids. The easiest way to think about them is as a nerve agent for insects. They're called systemic, which means the plant actually soaks up the chemical. It gets into everything, the leaves, the pollen, the nectar. So when a bee comes along for a meal, it gets a dose of this poison, which messes with its brain, making it hard to find its way home, gather food, or even reproduce.
But here's the really good news. For every single one of those harmful chemicals, there's a fantastic, totally bee-safe alternative. Instead of those systemic pesticides, we've got something called Integrated Pest Management, or IPM. Instead of just spraying everything, we can use biological controls, literally fighting bad bugs with good bugs. It's all about working with nature instead of fighting against it.
So what's in this IPM toolkit? It's honestly genius. You can release ladybugs to go to town on aphids. You can use companion planting, like putting marigolds near your veggies to keep pests away. You can use natural repellents like neem oil. And hey, if you absolutely have to spray something, just be smart about it. Do it super early in the morning or late at night when the bees are all tucked in.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second. Because every single flower you plant, every pesticide you decide not to use, it connects you to something so much bigger. Welcome to Section 3. Join the global hive. You know, this movement didn't just start yesterday. This fight to protect pollinators goes back over a century. You've got milestones like Apimondia uniting beekeepers way back in 1895, the Jersey Society forming in '71, and a huge win in 2017 when the rusty-patched bumblebee was finally listed as endangered. Every one of those steps was built on the actions of people just like you.
And that is the key thing to remember. Your actions aren't happening in a vacuum. That one flower you plant, that little bee hotel you build, they are real, meaningful contributions to this huge, historical, global movement. You're part of a legacy of people who care.
So, let's bring it all home in our final section, your lasting impression. What's the big takeaway from all this? If you only remember 4 things, make it these. 1. Plant native. Give them the food they were born to eat. 2. Build shelter. Help out that massive 90% of solitary bees. 3. Protect from harm. Ditch the nasty pesticides for better alternatives. And finally, number 4, remember that you are a steward. Your choices matter, and they create these incredible ripples of positive change.
You know, there's a quote that it absolutely nails it. The survival of bees depends on a shared fate, one that requires collective action. We are all in this together. The fate of the bees and our own fate are completely tangled up. Their survival really does depend on us, and honestly, our survival is way more tied to theirs than we usually admit.
And so I'll just leave you with this one simple question. It's not if you're going to help, but how you're going to start. So take a look at your space, think about your local bees, and just decide, what will you plant first?